Hello there, friends. Today is March 26, 2024, and today we're going to take a look at some Victor Wembanyama Cracked Ice rookie cards. Card number 136. We're going to take a look at recent comps, establish fair market value, generate some offer lists, as well as I'll tell you what I personally would be selling this card for if I was selling it from my personal collection. So we have the base set raw cracked ice. We have it in a PSA 9, a PSA 10, and then we're going to take a quick look at a relative newcomer, the pink cracked ice in a raw format. No PSA 9 or 10 on that yet. It's too early in the game. So back to the cracked ice. On the right-hand side, you can see that we do have 15 recent comps. These are all auctions off of eBay. No buy it now, no best offers because I like to see the back and forth. We had a low of 321, a high of 562. That's a 75.08% swing on this card, which means there's potential for some profits. These highs are obviously people trying to find that perfect card, and that leads me to let you know that if you do decide to use these numbers for any reason, make sure you're getting your hands on the card before you buy. I like to use these numbers in person at card shows or shops because then I can see how soft an edge is, if a corner is nice and sharp, if the surface is scratched. When you do that, you're obviously going to make a better purchase. So I wouldn't recommend using these numbers if you are in fact buying on eBay because most of them are going to be based upon exclusive of fees options, right? So to make my point here, in the blue, you will see the average bid price paid in order to win one of these auctions. That comes to $421.09. Add $5.25 on average for shipping, and you get a $426.34 out the door price point. I don't consider this to be fair market value for this card because it doesn't take into consideration that sellers have fees that must come right off the top. So once you take that 13 to 15% or so of fees off the top, this $365 is the net take home for these sellers. I think personally that orange is fair market value for this card. I know a lot of people have a problem with that, but I personally believe that a card is worth what a seller is willing to get rid of it for, not necessarily what a buyer is willing to pay for it. It's just how I believe trading card market works. You can have other opinions. I also like to get in lower than this number, so that's when I employ my stoplight system. 70, 75, and 80% offers are listed here in the green, yellow, red. 70% first offer at $294, and a 75% at $315, and an 80% at $336. Now, I also like to make sure that I'm getting into the bottom third of sales, so we'll sort this column ascending and drop down 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 342.36. So if at that 80% is my hard stop, we're certainly well within and below that bottom third of the market. If I want to sell in the top third, I go up 5 from the bottom, and we're selling it for $368, netting us about a $32 profit. That also equates to a $425 buy it now if you wanted to sell on eBay. I personally don't have a problem selling on eBay as long as I can get my profit margin. It's just the purchasing on eBay that I have a little bit more difficult time accepting. Okay. So on the top right-hand corner, one last note, we do have 616 PSA submissions. 401 of them have come back perfect at a PSA 10. That's a 65% return rate. That is insanely high. And that means that there are going to be far more PSA 10s than PSA 9s out there, which we should take a look at now. As far as availability, like I just said, we were only able to find 10 of these PSA 9s out there. Plenty of PSA 10s, but only 10 of the 9s. On the low side, we came in at 380. On the high side, we came in at 500. That swing is 31.58%, significantly lower than the raw format, which is to be expected because it's graded. There's a lot less to be concerned about, a lot less chaos involved with finding the perfect card, so that's why that swing percentage drops down significantly. Down below here, the blue is 435.55, and the orange is going to be 377.54. Let's compare that again to the raw. Okay, so 421 and 565. So really, These people lost money. If you got it graded and got it back at a 9, that means you had to pay for grading services. You also had to pay for shipping. And that is going to amount to significantly more than the $12 or so in a higher price point that you'll get from this PSA 9. So getting a PSA 9 back lost you money on the card, unfortunately, on average. First offer is 304 on this card, and let's take a look at the bottom third. Let's drop down 3 on this one just in case. 359.71 gets you into the bottom third, so that 80%, 348 still stands. And going here, looks like 402 gets you into the top third of sales. So potential to swing a nice little chunk of change if you can get in from the bottom third to the top third, but automatically you're losing money if you're getting this card graded and getting back the 9. Bummer, right? Now, as far as the 10 is concerned, like I said, we had plenty come back. So we were able to find a full comp sheet on this one. We had a low of 860 and a high of 1600. So I was incredibly interested in seeing this swing of 86.05. That is a huge swing, especially when you're considering you're looking at PSA 10s. But obviously that market got a hold of once these first hit the market, they were obviously going for a lot more, well over $1,000 on this, up to 1,600. But the trend so far is downward, with most recent sales at 860, 900, and 920. So keep those in mind. Down below here, we're seeing the blue is at 1128.87. The orange take home for sellers is 978.99. And we're looking at a return for our first offer, I should say, of 790 if you wanted to go that route. Sort this one ascending and drop down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I cannot speak today. 932 gets you into the bottom third of this, but it also falls between that 80 and the fair market value. Selling in the top third right now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 999.93. So you could pull a $50 to $60 profit on that if you were able to get in at those numbers. But again, let's actually go back to sorting this the right way. Because of this trend and because of the 3 most recent being 860, 900, 920, I'm not getting anywhere near this card. Not even at this first green offer at 790, I would have a hard time doing that because of that trend as of late. Very clearly, these first few that came on the market were trading at a much higher rate, simply because there was a lack of availability, right? These cards hit the market, they got sent to grading, there's a little bit of a lag time, and the first people to get their hands on those PSA 10s are often paying that premium. We're now seeing that market sort of steady itself, and it's on a completely different level, lower, really. It really is. So I would like to see probably another 15 or so more recent comps. So we're probably talking at least another 2 or 3 weeks before we get those 15 comps of those PSA 10s back to see where this market is leveling at. So I am nowhere near being in on this card at a PSA 10. Now let's take a look at the newest one that we have on the market, and that is the pink cracked ice. I couldn't find any PSA 9s or any PSA 10s on the market. That's how new it is. Obviously, there are definitely going to be some submissions in to PSA. However, it seems like they have not come back yet. So a low of 270, a high of 504. That, interestingly enough, is much lower than the regular cracked ice. Okay, that's good to know. The 86.67% swing on this card, on average 380.18, which again, compared to the regular raw, is 421. So we're about $40 lower on this pink than we were on the regular cracked ice. 329.50 is going to be take home for sellers. 266.12 is my first offer, and We're going to sort ascending 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 285, 98 gets you into the bottom third. So that's right at that 75% mark. So 285 becomes my final offer for this card if I'm in play on it. And we're going to sell it for, hopefully in the top third, 355. So about what, $70 or so in profit if you can swing low to high. I think you're probably going to find yourself somewhere in the middle. 410 would be that buy it now if you wanted to as well. So really tough card to consider because we haven't seen any comps come back for the PSA grading process. Again, if you get your hands on a perfect one, we'll have to see where that market steadies itself and that return rate to see if buying a perfect raw format card on this pink ice is worth it. So am I in on any of these cards? I might be in on a perfect raw if I can find one that looks great in person. That would probably be my number one target. As far as the PSA grading is concerned, I'm not in on the 9 or the 10. I'm definitely not in on the 10 just because of the way that graph is trending. Cracked, the pink is probably my second most intriguing just because of the novelty of it. However, I would definitely need to get in at this 75% yellow offer or less in order to be interested. So that's what I think these cards are worth. Definitely some volatile options. So I would say tread carefully, my friends. Take care.